Is responsibility something that you love, enjoy, find fun, uplifting, something that makes you feel vital, inspired? Or is it something that feels like a burden, something that's heavy, something that at some level you resent? This depends a lot on how you have been taught to care. You may have been taught to care only from pain, which means that when pain exists, whether it's you or someone else, that is when care appears. But when things are relatively okay, they may not be perfect. The pain may be manageable. You may be comfortable despite the pain. And when I'm saying pain, it can mean anything. It can be emotional, it can be psychological, it can be physical, a pain in whatever form, because pain is really the root, the core experience underneath a lot of our emotions, underneath a lot of our stresses and anxiety. There's pain. So if you have only been shown care when you are in pain or at a certain level of pain, that's how you've been taught to care for yourself. Because the contrast of that is that when things were generally okay, you were probably not being given attention. You're probably being neglected or abandoned because the caregivers were too busy to take notice or have the time and attention to give you any care or love when everything is okay, because then they have other things to do. The priority is something else. And so a lot of us also, because of this, develop a pattern that the only way we can get attention is to be in pain, is to hurt ourselves or be in some kind of distress, then we can get attention. So that's one of the consequences. But a bigger consequence around this is also how we learn to see responsibility. Because responsibility, in my way of looking at it, especially now after years of working on this topic, is it really is about the care. How much do we actually care about our responsibilities? And what is our attitude towards it? If what we are responsible for is something that we love and care about versus something that we have to do, it's an obligation, it's a burden, it feels heavy, it changes the whole experience of responsibility. And a lot of us, even if it was something that we love, because of the way we have been raised, because of the way we have been programmed, all responsibilities end up becoming obligations that are heavy, simply because of how we have been programmed and trained to look at the world. That it's not something to enjoy, it's something you have to do because you could be doing something else which is more fun. Responsibility is not fun because it involves pain. That's the programming you may have received. On the other hand, if the way you were raised was that care was shown, even when everything was okay, like you were shown care from a place of love, whether you are okay or not okay, someone cares about you. This was the experience that you had. Not just being told that, but being shown that. That was modeled for you, is that everything is fine and you're given attention. Everything is fine and someone cares about you, someone loves you, someone is there for you. This is the contrast. On one hand, you only get care, love, attention when something is wrong or something is very wrong, and in the rest of the time, you're neglected. On the other hand, it's being shown to you in different situations. Doesn't mean it's there all the time because realistically, that's not practical. Parents are busy, they're doing other things. So the difference is, are you being shown care and love in times when everything is okay or not? Because that's a responsibility. And that's one of the core responsibilities that we experience as children. Our parents are responsible for us, but are they responsible for us and loving us only in times of need, only in times of pain and distress? Or are they showing us love even when things are good? And yes, of course, most parents show us love in different scenarios, but e- in many cases there are imbalances and there's more love, more no, more care and more attention shown in times of distress and need and pain. And when this balance gets skewed because they're busy, they're occupied with other things, they have other responsibilities, it tends to shape us in a completely different way. Also depends on how they talk about responsibilities in other scenarios when we are growing up. So again, if your parents have responsibilities at work, how do they talk about that? Is it something that's heavy? Is it something that is a burden, something that they have to do? They have a resentment towards their job. All of that is programming us constantly. And the reason I'm bringing awareness to all of this is because we can reprogram ourselves. We can change the frequency from which we care. We can change the frequency of responsibility itself. I had such a strong resentment and aversion to responsibility because it always felt like something very heavy to me. And even the responsibility to take care of myself felt there was a lot of abandon and neglect in that. Because if everything is okay, I don't care. I can just keep going. I have a very good metabolism, so it doesn't matter what I put into my body because my body will process anything that I put into it. But if I'm ill, then I take more care of myself and what I'm putting into my body. But that for me was the pattern I started noticing is that if things are relatively fine, I don't care. I only care when things cross a certain point. And I started teaching myself to care all the time from a place of love. And that means that even when I'm in pain, I'm taking care of myself from a place of love rather than a place of obligation and responsibility because the program that comes is I'm a burden. Because if I only get attention and care in times of distress, pain, need, and that is because my parents have other responsibilities, other burdens, then I'm just being one more burden on top of them. Now they have one more problem to deal with, they have one more thing to take care of. So it's an added responsibility, and responsibility becomes burden, and I am that burden. Versus, I take care of myself all the time. My parents take care of me all the time. And if something is happening, if there is something that's painful, I'm still getting attention, and I'm not feeling like a burden because I always get attention. I'm always cared for. So whether I'm being cared for when everything is okay, or whether I'm being cared for when everything is not okay, I don't feel like a burden because it's the same. The feeling is the same. Care is there. Care is there, and I'm not an added additional burden. The responsibility for me is always part of life. And I believe that this is true for all parents, but it's in the way they express, in the way they show up in the moment, and no blame and no judgment towards anyone for this. You may be a parent, you may have received this parenting. So it's not judging or blaming you or your parents. It's just about talking about this very unconscious pattern and bringing it to light so that we can do something completely different about it, especially with ourselves first. Is if you can start having this attitude towards yourself of, I'm not a burden, and the responsibility that I have towards myself is something I enjoy. I enjoy taking care of myself all the time. I care about myself all the time because I love myself. It's the love that inspires the care for myself. That has such a different inspiration, motivation, energy towards yourself rather than feeling I have thousand things to take care of. I have my work, I have my family, I have my household responsibilities, I have to make money, I have loans to pay, I have this, I have that. And then my health goes wrong, or my children's health goes wrong, and now there's an added burden, and I feel more stressed. How are your children going to feel in that scenario? If they feel like their health, their pain is causing you more stress, and it's an added responsibility, not that you are always responsible for your children, but it's an added responsibility when they are in pain. They will feel like a burden. It's so important to make ourselves realize that we are responsible and we care for ourselves always. That quota is always there. It's never an added burden, it's never an added responsibility. If you can start cultivating this mindset towards yourself, it will change your entire relationship with responsibility. When you can say, I am responsible for myself and I care for myself always from love, it's never a burden, it never feels heavy. It really feels light-hearted. My heart feels light to care about myself rather than feeling heavy to care about myself or others or the world. The responsibility towards the world is not an added burden. I care for the world, I care for others. And that's just part of my care quota, just part of my responsibility quota. It's not now the world is in more distress, now the world is in more chaos, more pain, and that adds to my burden, that adds to my stress. It's always been there. Our heart, in its purest form, in its most healed, complete, whole form, has always had the capacity to care for everything. But that is when we are light, when we have cleared up this energy of obligations, when you have cleared up this energy of heaviness and resentment, as though we do not have the capacity, as though it's too much for us. When that energy has built up more and more and more, every added drop of responsibility just adds to the resentment, adds to the suffocation, adds to the overwhelm, adds to the feeling of helplessness and powerlessness. But when you feel strong in your heart, when you feel powerful in the sense of, yeah, I have the power and the strength to care, to take responsibility, to towards myself, towards others, towards the world. It doesn't feel heavy at all. That time it just feels like it's a joy. It's an honor. It's truly an honor and a privilege to have this responsibility, to have this responsibility. It's an ability to respond to the world. It's an ability to respond to myself. It's an ability that I am grateful for and I'm happy for. And it just gives me joy and it fulfills me to take care of myself, of others, for the world. It lights me up, literally. It lights my heart up to have this responsibility. It's such a world of difference, these energies, where responsibility on one hand feels like something that should be avoided because it's heavy, because it's a burden, because an extra strain on my resources, whether that's energetic, whether that's emotional, whether that's financial, versus no, I feel privileged. I feel privileged that I have an abundance of energy, I have an abundance of resources to care for myself and others. But really, the whatever be your financial condition, we all have an abundance of energy and love to care. And the moment we can start seeing this, we start changing our relationship to everything, including abundance itself, including financial prosperity. When our narrative is that every single thing is an extra strain, an extra burden on our resources, on our energy, we enter into the energy of scarcity. We enter into the frequency of scarcity. And that's where everything is heavy. That's where everything just feels like a strain, a burden. But on the other hand, abundance just feels light. There's plenty. There's plenty of love. There's plenty of attention. There's plenty of care I can give from this place. So I hope, I hope this touches you. I hope this helps you awaken some insight. And more than insight, it inspires you to do the work to make this transformation. If this is something you feel you would like support with, if I can support you with this, I would love to. My upcoming experience, I'm going to be talking more about this transformation in my own life. And it's a spiritual journey I'm leading for you to go on, for you to explore these relationships with yourself from different angles so that you can transform your relationship with yourself with responsibility, with all of these core essential aspects of self, and make them lighter, make them more aligned, make them more heart centered where it's light-hearted. So this spiritual journey is called Encounters with the Divine. It's free to begin, it's free to sign up. You'll find the link in the description or on my bio on any of my social profiles. And I very much look forward to seeing you there, whether you can do this on your own or not, whether you want support or not. Doing this journey together is just going to be something beautiful, something fun, something amazing. It's an exploration of life, yourself, the unknown, the mystery, the magical, the divine. Whether you believe or not, whether you're skeptical, whether you're deeply spiritual, doesn't matter. This is going to be an open exploration. No, no requirements on you believing anything. No, nothing heavy. It's just light. It's fun. Come and see what it is. I hope you've enjoyed and benefited from this transmission. Today is day 38, and I will see you tomorrow for day 39. Thank you.